Got it. Still streaming.
Awesome.
Awesome. Can you still hear me, Christine?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to another session of Beauty for Ashes with me, Anu Kasturi. I am beyond honored and excited to have Christine Handy with me. Christine, thank you so much for saying yes and coming on the show to encourage all of us, to give us hope and pointing us all to Jesus. Christine is a motivational speaker, best-selling author, nationally recognized humanitarian, accomplished model, and cancer disruptor. And I personally know Christine, and Christine is so much more than all of these, right? She's accomplished so much more. If you go on Christine's website, there's a lot more that can be added to all of her successes. She went to Harvard School and finished schooling in literature writing. She is doing her second book, and her first book is being adapted into a movie called Willow, which we're all excited about. I can't wait to watch the movie. But I mean, she's spoken in so many conferences and she's given so many motivational speeches and all of that. But the Christine I know, a couple of years when I started following Christine, the Christine I know is so much more. She is the brightest light there is in the world. She is truly, Christine. You are, because you carry so much hope when you go on live. I never for once felt that you've been going through so much chronic pain. Yes, you're honest, you share everything that you're going, but you always carry a smile. You're always full of hope, which is kind of like a very rare quality. Just for you all to know what Christine has gone through, I've done a little bit of research, Christine, about you. I've listened to a lot of your interviews before. But Christine started this whole journey a decade ago of many physical traumatic experiences. Starting from 2011, she's had full arm infusion, and then she's had 23 non-elective surgeries in the past 11 years, 28 rounds of chemo, lost 3 teeth. She's got heart issues, liver spots, implant issues. She's got MRSA infection, and she's gone through so much trauma and pain. But amidst all of this, Christine is today spreading hope. Christine, how do you do it? How do you do
it? That's beautiful. That's a beautiful intro. I can answer it in so many different ways, but when I first started to get, I guess, let me start back to when I was a child and I started to be a model. Mm-hmm. And I believe what society tells us, what society teaches us, is that our value is dependent on external things, mm-hmm. whether it's external accolades, like getting compliments from people, or external beauty, what you look like, or external objects like bags and clothes and, labels and all these other things that society says, these are the things that you should covet. This is your value. So I bought into that for a very long time, because I am a model as well now, but most of my life I've been a model. So I was like, okay, well, this is my job. I have to be beautiful. I can't have any scars. I can't have my hair has to be the exact same length as my pictures, or my agent's going to be mad at me. My modeling agent's going to be upset if I gain a pound or if I lose a pound. So I have to be this idea of perfection was like ingrained in me. And so when I started to get scars and I started to get ill, I thought I had no value, because all the things that society loved about me or told me I was good at is now being stripped away. And so I lost my beautiful hair to chemotherapy, and I lost, it was 90 pounds wet, and I was sick, and I wasn't offering the world anything that they wanted, right? I wasn't transactional.
Yes.
I wasn't able to model. I wasn't able to really take care of my family. People were taking care of me, but I wasn't giving to anybody else. And I thought that made me worthless. The truth was, none of those external things mattered. There is no U-Haul behind the hearse. My beauty does not come from external, and it does not come from accolades. It comes from how I feel about myself. And my measure about how I feel about myself, or how I translate my worth in this world, is by God. Amen. If I wake up every single day and I say to God, I trust you. You're going to put me in the right places to give the right people hope. And at the end of the day, if I say to God, did I do enough today? And I'm fine with God. It doesn't matter what society thinks of me. It doesn't, the accolades, the awards, the modeling jobs, the relationships, they don't matter. What matters is my relationship with God. And so it doesn't just happen overnight like that. I went through a lot of trials and a lot of fire, but the fire is what is what it prunes us. And it's really uncomfortable. And it really hurts. And it really doesn't make sense until you really take it all away and go, okay, what matters? I can't take these things with me, right? I can't go to heaven with any of these things. So do the things matter? No. Relationships we're meant to be in relationship, right? Because we're meant to love, like Jesus loved.
Yes.
Love matters. Serving matters. Giving people matters. And so if you can so for instance, my modeling career, let's use that as an example. I still model. Right now I'm with a modeling agency. I'm 53 years old. I just did a campaign with Victoria's Secret as one of their breastless models. I never wanted to go back to modeling, not because I didn't love modeling. I love modeling. The only reason I'm going back to modeling right now is to show people that without a chest, my self-esteem was not dissected. My self-esteem is strong and stable because of my faith in God. And so I can model lingerie without a chest, fully comfortable, fully in love with my body, because this is the way my body is right now. If I reject my body, aren't I rejecting God?
Sure. Wow.
I'm not saying that God did this to me. He didn't. But we have free will. And this is what in illness, we have illness and we go through great pain. But this is what it looks like right now. And I'm okay with that because I'm my measures with God. And so if we can take everything that we have been given, right? For me, I've been given a great career in the modeling industry and come back after the fire and use that to give people hope. That's my job. I can keep doing the same job, just in a different way. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm a facilitator. We're all facilitators. And so, for instance, the movie that's coming out about my life, people ask me all the time, they go, oh my gosh, what does it feel like to have a movie about your life? It's not about me. I have an opportunity. When I was going through breast cancer, I sought out movies and film and TV that represented the breast cancer world. And you know what I found? I found film after film that ended in a funeral when it had anything to do with cancer. That's loss. That's fear. That's defeat. I don't want the people that have come after me in the breast cancer world to have to see those things over and over again. I want to show them a story, a film about hope and survival. And if I'm able to do that, if I can work hard, I've been working on the film for 5 years. If I can do that, if God puts a spark in your spirit and you say yes to it and you fight for it, even if it takes years and years and years, and even if it's a roller coaster, and even if people say no to you, I know I've tried and I know I've done my best. Now, fortunately, it's working out, but it doesn't negate, it also doesn't negate my self-esteem if for some reason the movie didn't happen. If the spark was inside of me and it didn't happen because society said no, it's okay. Like there's no failure, right? Because if we try, that's never failure. The only failure is by not trying, by not taking that seed and not doing anything with it. So we are all facilitators.
Wow. Amazing. Christine, that is, I don't know if all of us carry such level of hope like you shared, like you did through the years, and you do continue to share hope. But when you were going through these seasons and in the years of, battling cancer, when was the time that you realized? Because I know that in the modeling career, before all of this happened, that I've heard in a couple of interviews that you shared that you were really trying to put up, with the pictures and what the society was, throwing at you. You were trying to put up with all of that, and you were trying to be the perfect person in the eyes of the world. But when you were going through the cancer surgery, you found different kind of hope and different kind of self-esteem. When was the time, the tipping time when you realized that no, you know what? I have to wake up, and I have to wake up with this God-given purpose. And my self-esteem is indestructible. Like
Yeah.
when did you realize that? When
Well,
was it?
that takes a long time, by the way. That's not easy.
Oh,
And it doesn't
yeah,
happen overnight. You know,
yeah.
I use some tools to help
Mm,
that.
okay.
And one thing I'll go back to the question, but one thing I do still is I
Mm,
have pictures of me as a child all
okay.
around my home. And what I
Mm,
do with those pictures, anytime I see a picture of me as a baby or as a teenager or in college, I look at that little girl and I say, I'm going to protect you.
mm,
Because so often in society, we expect other people to protect us. We
yeah,
expect doctors to protect us. We expect our
yeah.
spouses. We expect our children. We expect our parents. It's not that they can't help, but
Mm,
we have to protect us. And if we feel empowered to protect ourselves, that
mm,
builds self-esteem.
wow.
And I'm not
Mhm,
saying that we shouldn't ask for help.
mm,
A lot of times women are fearful of asking for help because we're
yeah,
supposed to be so strong. But I
yeah.
can tell you that that's a self-esteem issue. We have to let go of that pride.
Mm,
We shouldn't always be so strong. We should be allowed to ask for help. We should be allowed to accept help from other people. That people want to help.
mm,
When you're going through illness, people want to serve. And so by
mm,
accepting their help, it's not failure. That's actually
mm,
success because you're letting your pride go. So
wow.
going back to your question, I this didn't just happen automatically when I was diagnosed with cancer. I didn't just all of a
Mm,
sudden go, you know what? I'm going to rely on my faith now because
mm,
buying all these bags and buying all these things and getting the gas campaign and all those other things that I coveted so much,
mm,
it's not really important anymore. And I'm just going to give up that life. That's not what happened.
mm,
I felt great despair. I
mm,
felt like I was going to lose my relationships. I felt
mm,
like my friends were going to forsake me. I felt like I had no value in this world.
mm,
And I was going through chemo for 15 months. I was in that chemo chair 28 times. And
wow.
when you look around at other people going through chemo, you realize that that handbag that you so often coveted and you
Mm,
wanted so bad and you saved up for doesn't make a darn bit of difference. It doesn't
mm,
matter what people were walking into chemo with. They just
mm,
wanted to live. They wanted to
yeah,
survive.
yeah.
And so week after week after week, I started to let go of that craving for other people's attention,
Mm,
that craving for external accolades, that craving to have that external beauty back. It's not that I didn't want my hair back, I did, but I wasn't so fixated on that. I was more fixated on helping the person next to me in the chemo chair, giving her hope, offering her
wow,
a scripture. And so if
wow.
I can serve while I'm hooked up to a chemo machine, I'm showing that to my friends and family. I'm showing that to my children. Now there's
Mm,
this wave effect, right? Now other
mm,
people are seeing that. So it's like not just me doing it. Now maybe my son does that to somebody at school. Maybe my
wow.
friend does that to somebody in her life. And
Mm,
so it's this like wave effect of giving out hope. And the other
yeah.
thing that I did was I stopped fixating on the outcome.
Mm,
So often whether it's relationships, well, oh, I want to get married. Oh, I want to
mm-hmm,
stay. I want that guy. If
yeah.
we're so fixated on the outcome, we don't stay present in the what should be important, which is each day.
Mm,
I was so fixated on whether I was going to live or die that I
mm,
wasn't staying courageous in the moment. And I had
mm,
so many setbacks during chemo. There were 3 nights that I was not sure that I was going to wake up the next morning. And
wow.
and what I did was I was deadly. I was so frightened.
Mm,
Instead of showing my children, you know what? I have a great life and whatever God's plan for me is, I'm good with that. The outcome was the same. Whether I
mm,
woke up the next day or not, it didn't matter. How I
mm,
reacted to it mattered. And so I started to see myself in a different way. I started to look at myself in the mirror and go, wow, if I had reacted differently, maybe I wouldn't have upset my son.
mm,
If I wasn't showing so much fear, maybe my family wouldn't be so afraid as well. And so I
mm,
started to shift. And once I started to shift, I gained some momentum because I was like, if I just show myself courage today, not only am I showing courage to other people, I'm showing courage to the person in the chair next to me at chemo. I'm also building my self esteem by this courage.
wow.
And it's not to say that we don't lose courage, because there's
Yeah.
times where we're like hit after hit after hit, emotionally or physically or relationally, or illness. And it's like, you get so frustrated, and you just get on your hands and knees and go, okay, God, what is your plan for me? What is this all about? But that's a better reaction than going, okay, quit. I got nothing left. I have no courage. And the other thing is, we can borrow courage from other people. So if you out, say to your friend, you know what? I have no courage right now. I need your courage. Tell me what to do. Help me foster this, whatever's going on in my head. Give me some advice. And lean on other people during the times that you don't have a lot of courage. But most importantly, getting on your hands and knees and going, okay, God, what do you have for me? I can't do this in my own strength. I need your strength. He shows up.
So powerful. So powerful. I love it. I love what you shared. Sorry.
Maybe the most important thing that I said was, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yes,
so don't get frustrated with your faith. It's a process. And don't get frustrated with your self-esteem if you're like, wait, I felt great about myself yesterday, and now I feel terrible about myself. It's a roller coaster, but keep looking at a picture of you, of that little girl or that little boy, and go, I'm going to protect you. Because you will protect that person.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I've never heard anyone say that. Like, take a picture and then put it on the walls, and then keep reminding yourself of the little you, and say that I'm going to protect you. That's so amazing. Wow.
Yeah. Now,
and
each
so,
day. Yeah.
Oh, you do it even now. That's even more incredible. Wow. Yeah. Beautiful, Christine. So I know that you're a Christian, you've been raised a believer, but I remember that when you were going through these treatments and this whole process, one of the interviews you've shared that you were contemplating suicide. You said,
yes.
I wanted to die. But how is it after that you have found hope? Is it through the prayers and the friends? I remember that you were also talking about your friends and the community of believers that you surrounded yourself with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I talk about that because I don't want to paint an inaccurate picture of what I went through.
Yes.
Because I don't think that showing highlight reels helps anybody.
Yes, that's true.
It's not the truth, right? Yeah. And so if I can be accurate in my pain as well as in my accomplishments, that's an accurate description of my life. Yes. And that's more hopeful than just showing, oh, look at, I got a film about my life, and oh, look at, I'm this model. And that's only a very small part of the story, right? That's the tiniest part of the story. It's all the other pain and difficulty and divorce and all the other muddy stuff that prunes me into somebody that can accomplish what I've accomplished. It's not without the messes. It's because of the messes. And so when I was going through that really dark time, one, I had completely depended on society for my worth. Well, if you depend on a roller coaster for your worth, how do you think that's going to end? It's not going to end very well. Sure. And so I needed to get rid of that. And then a friend of mine said to me, look, if you take your life, that's extremely selfish, because you're going to be gone. But the people that are left behind are going to be like wondering, wait a minute, what could we have done? How could we have served her? How could we have helped her? And that's not fair to anybody, especially your children. Yeah. And I was also in a very desperate mindset. A doctor had just told me I had breast cancer. I had no idea if I was going to live or die. And it was almost like this pride, like, okay, well, I'm going to control this narrative. I'm not sure I'm going to live or die, so I'm going to take my life. That's ego. And that's a desperate mindset. That's a total lack of faith. That's 100% fear-based decision. It's also from a place of a very low self-esteem. And so to go from that to the self-esteem I have now is almost impossible. But you have to die to your pride. You have to die to your plans. You have to die to your ego in order to rise and rebuild. And if you say to yourself, I'm going to rise and rebuild, and my platform is going to be serving in every space of my life, I'm going to serve.
Mm,
Serve in my house. I'm going to serve outside of my house. I'm going to serve in my work. I'm going to serve on social media.
mm,
Every single platform that I have, I serve. And if that's your way of life, I go to bed every night going, okay, God, did I do my job? I'm not saying I do a perfect job, but I usually say to myself, okay, you've done a pretty good job. Could I do
mm.
better? Of course. I get tired. You know me. I mean, I'm on 3 boards. I'm on the board of 3 nonprofit, actually 4
Yeah.
nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a social, I mean, I do a lot of different things and I get
Yeah.
tired,
Yes.
but I also know that my days are marked like everybody else's, and I'm in a rush to help as
Mm,
many people as possible.
that's
There
true.
is, our world is fear-based. Our news
Mm,
is fear-based. Our
yes.
TV, our shows are fear-based. They're violent
Mm,
and
mm,
they are not showing Jesus, and that I'm
mm.
frustrated by that. And so
Wow.
if I can be a facilitator of hope to as many people as possible, I'm going to choose that every day. And that gives me self-esteem as well.
Wow. That's incredible. Um, in one of the interviews too, you shared one of the lines that is so powerful. You said, there is always a choice. You said, when I hit the rock bottom, you said I had a choice. You said you could either be a victim or a vine. You said you could either show compassion to yourself or you could show pity. And you have really exemplified the characteristic of just rising up to the occasion every single day, showing up for other people. And you do it so beautifully. And when you've shared this line, this really you embody this line with everything that you do, to be the wine, to be life-giving to people, to serve people. It's very hard, right? When you're going through pain, you want people to come and empathize with you. You want people to come and say, oh, Anu, I'm so sorry. And so you want to just be in your couch or in your house. You actually isolate yourself. So
Yeah.
what happened to me too is I isolated myself when I was going through a tough time. I was like, because I'm going through this, nobody would understand me. Nobody would be there for me anyway. So I choose to isolate myself. But you didn't do that. You said, I will allow, which is amazing. You said, I will allow people to pour into my life. And you've had the incredible blessing to have a community of believers surrounding you, your own friends.
Yes.
Would you share about that whole journey of friendship and how they've come around you and how
Yeah.
you've allowed them to pour into your life?
Well, they are really facilitators. They're the ones that taught me. They came into
Oh,
my life when I was at my lowest point and said, there will be meaning to this story. Do not give
oh,
up. There will
wow.
be life after this illness. Don't
Mm,
give up. And it's not like I said, okay, you're right. I fought
mm,
them. I was like,
yeah,
how could there be meaning? I mean,
yeah,
I had a good life. How could there be meaning?
yeah.
But the truth was, they were right. There could be
Mm,
life after cancer. In fact, it could be better, but
wow.
it's your mindset.
Mm,
I went back to Harvard after I had cancer because my chemo brain was so distorted. It
yeah,
really affected my brain. I could have just done puzzles and things like that, but I wanted my brain to be fixed. And
wow.
it wasn't easy to get through Harvard. And I didn't know if they
Yeah.
were going to take me, but they did. And I
Mhm.
probably had to work harder than any student in the program that I was in because my chemo
Wow.
dose, it messed up my brain. But
Mm,
I showcase it on social media because I wanted people to see that you can take control of your life.
mm,
You can take back your life after chemotherapy. You don't have to just accept that the chemo brain exists. You
mm,
can change it.
wow.
But so many doctors say, "Oh, it's just chemo brain. It'll work
Mm,
itself out." It doesn't work itself out all the time.
mhm,
And so if we can take charge of our life, which is also what my friends used to tell me, then you feel more empowered. And again, your self-esteem gets nurtured. But my friends also did amazing things. They said, okay, let's focus on life. So what do? They brought plants into my house. They put
mm,
plants in my life. They put plants around me.
wow.
And so they're like, that represents life. And
Wow.
so to have plants around, every time I see my plants, like the ones in your house, I think
Yeah.
life, life.
Mm,
And so they also took all the goblins and the skulls, and I have 2 boys. And so anything that
mm,
represented death, they took it out of my house. I had a
wow.
really beautiful scarf that I loved and it had skulls on it. And they were like, no, no. That represents death. They took it out. I don't even know where I don't know where they put it. And then they started to put up paste. They put up the little yellow paste. What are they called?
Sticky notes.
Sticky notes. Thank you. I have them all over my computer, sticky notes. They put sticky notes all around my house, 250 of them. When I was in chemo one day, I came home from chemo. My mother's on one side of me, my father's on the other side of me, because I'm so weak, I can't even get through my front door. And I'm so skinny and I'm so weak and I'm so sick. And I'm trying to just get in my house. And all of a sudden I look around and there's sticky notes all through my house, in my children's rooms, in drawers, on my in the kitchen counter, on the kitchen refrigerator. And every single sticky note had a scripture on it.
Wow.
And so instead of looking at a beautiful piece of furniture, a beautiful piece of art, I was looking at life. I was looking at life, scriptures that represented life, represented faith, that didn't represent fear. Yeah. And so I fixated on the faith because it was a visual. So anybody can do that. Just take sticky notes and write scriptures on it and put it in places that you're going to see every day. And so your eyes will go to that. And it's a constant meditation reminder of living in faith instead of fear. I know that God says you can't have both. You can't live in fear and live in faith. And I struggle with that because I have moments of fear and I'm like, okay, this isn't faith. And I get frustrated. But in moments like that, I just have to surrender and say, okay, God, I'm living in fear right now. I need you to take over. Just take it from me. Wow. And so whatever you see around you, you become. Whatever voices you have in your head, especially your own, you become. Wow. If you think that you're pitiful, you will feel pity. If you think that you are powerful, you will become a vine. Wow. What you have to be careful what you tell yourself. I don't listen to secular music. I only listen to faith-based music. I want the things that I'm listening to, that I'm ingesting, to be based on faith. I don't want to ingest rap music. And there's nothing wrong with rap music. I'm not saying that it's bad. My kids love it. Fine. I need different music to make sure that I'm full with faith. Whatever other people do, I don't judge them. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm just telling you how I live my life, how I get through life, not in fear. And it's all those things are choices. All those things are reactions.
Wow, that's commendable. That's incredible. There is always a choice that we could choose, like Christine is saying, a choice to be hopeful and not give up, a choice to rise up every day, like Christine does, with a smile, with a beautiful smile. Every single time she goes online or she goes out to share hope and spread hope, she always carries so much joy. And like Christine was empowering us and encouraging us to, do small things that matter. And at some point, Christine, even in your life, those small things became very powerful, right? Like you said, a text message or somebody just sending you a note, or these scripture portions, the sticky notes that you stuck around in the house where you could read a verse a day, and you would be so empowered and you would be so encouraged. And so when there were really, really dark moments, Christine, at that point, like you said, those 3 days in your journey, right, where you thought, there would not be a tomorrow, you chose to get on your knees and you said, Lord, what is your purpose in my life? I don't think anybody would have done that, Christine, what you have done, to get on the knees and say, Lord, even today, I choose you and I choose the purpose that you have for me. Your motto in life is, finding purpose in your pain. And that's been you, and that's been your motto all these years. And I really commend you for sticking onto it and showing all of us what it is to live every day with hope and purpose in Jesus. That's amazing. I would love to ask you one small question. This is not related to the cancer journey and all of that. This is related to motherhood. Okay. I'm a mother. You're a mother. So the last 11 years, how did motherhood, how did I put this? I know you've gone through seasons, but how has the journey impacted motherhood? Like
Well,
with the boys, you were not able to, sorry, with the boys, you were not able to spend time through the years. But after all of this has happened, did you like get enough time? Did you make intentional choices to take them out and spend time, all of that?
well, I don't think I was a great role model before I had cancer because I was very um I meditated a lot on again external value. So it
Mm,
mattered to me that I went to galas and got pretty dressed up, and it mattered to me what handbag I carried, and that wasn't a very good model for my sons. And after cancer, I thought I wish I had modeled for them something different. And
mm,
part of the reason I do what I do now is because I want to model something different for them.
wow.
They're they see me modeling for Victoria's Secret and they know I'm doing that for other women. Not because I tell them that. Their friends who are young, my sons are 25 and 22. Their girlfriends who are 25 and 22 are like,
Oh,
your mom's a Victoria's Secret model and she doesn't have a chest. And they're
wow.
like, yeah. And their girlfriends are like, holy cow, she's brave. She's courageous. So now they're getting it from peer pressure, right?
Hmm.
But I I don't I can't change the past. I can't
Yes.
change the way I modeled what I model for my children. All I can tell them is I'm sorry for the way I modeled it before. And I think they need to hear that. I mean, I've told them that. They needed to hear that. I needed to tell them that. And
Mm,
then all I can do moving forward is model the life that I hope that they want to live. And I try to teach them that serving is the greatest gift in the world. And I hope that
wow.
through their life, they can find a way to work through service. But
Mm,
I'll give you this one example, and this is really beautiful. When I was going through chemotherapy, I could not drive my kids to school. One of my sons was in
mhm.
boarding school, but my other son was home and he had rides. I had a housekeeper and I had people that helped with driving him. Sometimes my husband was able to take him. But when he was 17, he wasn't able to get a license for a specific reason. I drove him to
Wow.
school his junior and senior year, which, by the way, is almost impossible. Most kids that are juniors and seniors would never let their mom take them to
Yes.
school. God gave that back. A
Wow.
year and a half, that year and a half that I could not drive my son to school when he was 12 and 13 years old, I got that back at 17 and 18
Wow.
out of nowhere.
Wow.
Out of a situation that my son was very unhappy about, turned
Hmm.
into us spending every morning 20 minutes a morning and every afternoon 20 minutes in the afternoon together. That exact period of time I got back, and that was a gift from God.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful
That's
story.
amazing. That's an amazing story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never pretend.
Thank you. Yeah, we would never think that, but God restores, right? And He restores so beautifully.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that story. Christine, I know we are running short of time. I don't want this to end. I want this to continue because I'm empowered sitting on this side. I want you to continue to, encourage me and give me hope. But you are an overcomer, Christine. One word to describe you, you're an overcomer. And you've not overcome with the materialistic things. You've overcome everything through faith in Jesus. You've pressed forward. You said, I will not give up. I will not give up on myself. I will not give up on Jesus. And this is an incredible testament of who you are,
Thank you.
in Jesus. And so what is the message of hope that you want to spread to all the viewers that are viewing this podcast today? What is that message of hope that you want to give?
Well, a couple things. Show up is the most
Mm,
important thing. Show up for each other and show up for
mhm,
yourself. That's what Jesus did. And the
mhm,
other thing is to give yourself a lot of grace. This world is teaching us differently. Look
mm.
around at the billboards and look around at the news. It's
Yeah,
trying to push a narrative that we don't have to follow.
yeah.
And so I don't. I try very hard not to watch violent shows. I try very hard not to watch the news because it's fearful. It's
Mm,
fear-based.
mm.
And so give yourself the grace on a day-to-day basis and just because we give so many other people grace,
Yes.
give yourself that very grace.
Mm,
And the other thing is when you feel like a victim, your self-esteem is going to go down.
Yes.
So if you can turn that into being a vine any way you can, even the smallest steps, I promise you, your spirit will feel lifted. Your spirit will be different. And don't judge yourself. You know, we're so judgmental on ourselves. We're doing our best. And when you find days where you're not courageous and you find days where you're angry and frustrated, get on your knees and just say, Jesus, take it. Jesus,
Wow.
I can't do it. God, I can't do it. I need some courage. Jesus, I don't know how to do this. And just wait. He will meet you where you are. But above all, show up for people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much for taking time to come on the show and spread joy and hope in Jesus and empower me. I don't know about other viewers, but I am so encouraged. I'm beyond honored and humbled to have you. I pray that your life is full of joy, happiness, success, prosperity, and whatever you do, you shine brighter and brighter each day. Thank you so much. I love you. I'm sure everybody who's viewing, they love you as well. And for all the viewers who have joined us today, thank you. Thank you so much. Until we meet next time, hope you all have a blessed Christmas season. We'll meet you soon. Happy Christmas to you too, Christine, and to your family. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.